Welcome to Homemade Italian Cooking. I'm Cara, and in this episode today I am so excited to show you how to make my pan-fried pork chops with rosemary and garlic. And what I'm going to give you is one secret and one tip on how to make the best pork chops around. This is a classic Italian Sunday kind of dinner. You can make them real quick, which makes it very easy to do. It's best if you make them for 2 to 8 people because you're going to be frying the pork chops in a pan. It's not really for a big crowd unless you want to be frying all day. So with that, I'm going to give you first my secret. And my secret is going to be the kind of pork that you buy. Now you can get any pork chop you want at the grocery store. But for a special occasion like today, we're going to be using these Berkshire Heritage pork that I order online from a shop called Dardigan. I'll put the link below with the recipe, so in case you want to try it yourself. But what's special about these is how well marbled they are, and they're cut Milanese style, which means they've got like Frenched or ribbed. And you can see the bone here. There's a lot of marbling in through here, and it's a good inch and a half thick. So for 6 people, we're going to make at least 6 pork chops. So the first step is we're going to make a rub and put the rub on the chops. And I've got a tablespoon of coarse kosher salt. I have a half a tablespoon of garlic powder. Now here's another tip for you. This is probably the only recipe that I'm going to ever recommend garlic powder. If you're Italian, you have to use fresh garlic. Always use fresh garlic. You shouldn't even have garlic powder in your kitchen. I just happen to have it for this recipe. So, and the reason I'm doing it is that in this particular case, the garlic powder is going to stick to the pork chop better when I cook it. So that's why I'm doing it in this case. All right. Then we've got a tablespoon of fresh ground black coarse pepper. And in this case, we have a tablespoon of fresh rosemary, fresh minced rosemary, and I've minced it very, very small because it's going to cook on the pork. Fresh rosemary is much better than dried rosemary. So if you can, always use the fresh herbs, use fresh garlic, unless some recipe tells you otherwise. So we're going to put these all together, mix this all real well, and you're going to have a nice rubbing mix, and we're going to put a light sprinkle and layer of this on the chops. And so while we're going to do both sides, and when I'm finishing these and the rest of the pork chops, then the next step we're going to move to the stove. All right, so our next step is I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan, and we are now going to put these in, and we're going to cook them for, I'm going to do 4 at a time, and we're going to cook these about 3 minutes on each side or until they get nice and caramely. This is a medium-high heat. We'll flip them and cook them for another minute or 2 on the other side, and then we're going to put them on this sheet pan when we're ready, and they're all going to go in the oven. So we've got a nice brown on both sides of these, and so that tells me they're ready, and we're going to put them on this sheet pan and pop them in the oven. And with me, I have my niece, Bianca. She's going to help me test and make sure that this is good for dinner tonight. All right, our pork chops are done. I've tested them with the meat thermometer at about a little 140, 145 degrees. They smell fantastic. That rosemary and garlic really filled up the whole kitchen. They're juicy, and she will tell me if her dad will like them or not. So we're going to try cutting into one of these, and you can see perfectly cooked and juicy. Go ahead, let's try it, see if it's good.
That's really, really good.
It's delicious. You must try it. Well, get this recipe, subscribe to me. Everything is below. Check below, subscribe, send me your comments and feedback. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope you try it and let me know if you do.